China. So China is where we're based at. For those who've been with us for the last couple of years, you guys know we are based in Shanghai, China. And sometimes we all have family, friends back home. We do tell them the unbelievable things happening in China. And they're like, no, it's only in the big cities like, Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen. But it's like, it's absolutely not true. What China is doing, the transformation is going through, most of us have been here long enough to be lucky to have witnessed, the most part of it. So there was this, I think he's from the UK. We're not really sure, but based on his accent, I think he's from the UK. I've been following him for a while now, and he was making similar comments about how China has changed his Western, perspective. When he was back home, he always thought, the West is better than China in so many ways. But now that he's here, married to a Chinese, he's got a kid, he's got an absolute change of perspective. So watch the video. We'll come back to you right now.
China has completely destroyed my Western superiority complex, and I'm so thankful to this country for doing that. I didn't even realize I had this complex before I came here, but I guess subconsciously I thought the West was in some way better than China in terms of technology, education, in terms of the people and how they are civilized within a society. And I was just wrong on all accounts. China is so much further ahead in terms of technology. The kids here in education are just outclassing the Western kids in every way. And you guys are far more civilized than we are in the West. And it's because you've learned from a 5,000-year history and you haven't abandoned your roots. You've stuck with the tried and tested traditions. It's really something to be admired. And I'll say it again, guys, I'm so thankful to China for teaching me this lesson, and I hope I can pass it on to my children. And I also hope that other foreigners who come to China will also experience what I have and open their minds. And I hope the West in general will one day see China the way I do, which is a friend, a partner to cooperate with, not someone to quarrel with. And yeah, guys, wherever you are today, I hope you're having a fantastic day and you take care, okay?
As you can see, this guy has been here for a while and he's saying the exact same thing that we've been telling friends and family back home. China is way ahead of the West because it's like people are gonna still 2025 they still keep asking, yo, you still in China? And it's like it's so absurd because you're like, yeah, where else do you want me to be? Like, why don't you move to the States? Why don't you move to Canada and stuff like that? So what is your take on it, guys? Because I feel like a lot of people are still misinformed when it comes to China. What do you guys think?
I was just saying this yesterday that I find it funny when I hear politicians in general from developing countries trying to whatever development project or whatever innovation they bring onto the market or the economy, they always try to compare to what happens in the UK, what happens to the US, and they rarely compare or they rarely talk about learning from China. And I find it funny because we have all been to some of these countries, right? And we do know that when it comes to ease of living, China has done way better than many, many Western countries. And someone might even say all of them. Because China has reached a point where you can even pay for stuff with your palm. You can pay for stuff with your face scan. And when it comes to mobile payment penetration, when was the last time you touched cash? But when you go to many Western countries, I can understand that some people think it's a privacy issue, but let's put that aside and just talk about pure innovation. When we're talking about pure innovation, I think China is like thousands of years ahead of many, many countries. So yeah, I understand the point where the point of view. I understand the perspective he's coming from with his comments.
Yeah, talking about innovation, it's interesting you brought it up because the guy said the exact same thing. No, I'll throw that to you. What do you have to say about people always saying Chinese do not innovate? They always just copy what other people
I was about to say this.
Come up with.
It is out of ignorance. People have bought into the Western news so much that they cannot think beyond what they've read about China, right? And it is not everybody that will have the opportunity to travel here to actually experience what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Look at it. Let me flip it this way. Anybody listen? You come from Africa, right? Ghana, precise. We don't sleep on trees, right?
Yeah.
We could do more, but we don't sleep on trees. But you still go to this Western quote unquote, these so-called Western countries, and they still think you are from Africa and you are poor and you have flies all over your face.
Yeah.
So the moment you also see China, you are looking at China from the Chinese movies you've watched, the
Yeah.
Drunken Masters and the Jackie Chan's and
Yeah.
whatever. And that is what they are still carrying around. We are living life here. I mean, if you want to think about heaven, right? Forget about certain rules, right? But if you want to think about heaven, I get up, I go for a walk at 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. I will never do that in my country. I'll never do that in America. I will never do that in Europe or the European countries. I dare not. But
Yeah.
because of the news, people have bought in. Oh, and Chinese. And people, oh, the Chinese goods are furious. I'm using a Chinese phone. Do you know how much this phone costs? This phone, you know?
Was that a rhetorical question or are we supposed to answer?
No,
'Cause
you don't need to answer. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
asking the
Sorry.
audience. They can
Sorry,
go and
boss.
My man is charged.
No, you see, for me, I'm actually tired of explaining here because I know I'm not from here, but
Yeah.
I was brought up to show appreciation, and I've always said this: it's only a fool who doesn't learn.
Yeah, I agree with what
These
you're saying.
people
Let
have
me.
gone through stuff. Hold on,
Yeah.
they've gone through stuff, and if you look at their development, how fast forward everything has happened here, you ask yourself, why do people still carry this negativity? And you want to talk about government and you want to talk about all those political stuff that is beyond my head. I don't have anything to do with politics. I just want to live a good life. Right?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. Now I was watching like a car review yesterday. And I forgot the guy's name, but there were people making a lot of comments at the bottom, and the guy he got a bit upset. He also left his comment and pinned it up. They said the same thing. He was like, people kept commenting. I think he was reviewing Zika, right? You guys know the Zika car.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, so odd, like, he was like, amazed by what he was seeing, the technology. And people were like, oh no, you've been paid by the car company, you've been paid by the Chinese to say what you're saying. But that's the point. Why can't something be true or be good and true at the same time?
Yeah.
So, but if he had trashed the car, then everybody would have been like, oh, there we go, like, Chinese innovation or Chinese cars. But if something is really, really good, why can't people say that?
Yeah.
Why is it when it's kind of like, linked to the Chinese, everybody, oh, you've been paid to do that? There was this guy also, I think he's like a content creator. He's been in China for a while. I think he's like living in China or something like that. That's his name.
Yeah.
And he said the same. He goes to different places, shows, how China developed and all that. And people still keep commenting he's being paid by the Chinese government. And he said, do you really think the Chinese government have... Well, hold on. You think they have nothing better to be paying content creators to kind of like, what, showcase China? It's like, it's really crazy.
The irony is that same person, I want to upgrade the person because people think when you use iPhone and stuff, that same person is using an iPhone to comment or an Android phone. That the gadgets, the components, and everything was done by a Chinese.
The whole product is probably assembled here in China.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it has to do with a lot of people have decided not to be descending, and it's an intentional thing. You understand?
Yeah.
They will-
Yeah.
And that's why I said I don't need to explain myself for who I support. You understand? Because I can see it happening. I
Yeah.
wake up every day and I want to see my country in this state where I can
Yeah.
go about my daily life, not worrying too much about security and this and that because I don't have anything to hide. I just want to live a good life, right?
Yeah.
I want to have the best home. I want to drive one of the best cars around. This country is making it possible for its citizens. Do you know?
No, but yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Do you know the crazy part that always gets to me though? it's like just like this guy was saying he had this complex, but he did not even know he had it. It was like subconscious until he came to China, and he kind of
Yeah.
felt like he used to have it, but now not anymore. It's interesting because when you think about how things happen, let's say in Ghana, Africa, and maybe in the States and in the West, it's like how people brag about development. It's like, number one, USA, or like, Ghana, we the what you call that thing, the gateway to Africa,
Gateway to
right?
Africa, yeah.
Yeah, Google's new African headquarters is in the I don't know, it's in Accra. So, we brag about things like that, but the Chinese don't care. They're not gonna be like, yo, we got this, our GDP is this, and we did. It's like probably gonna be like, some folks that show pride in their country, and every citizen is supposed to be proud of their country. But it's like they don't come out to make all these like, braggadocious claims that, oh, we this with the second biggest economy, or we this. They don't do that. They just strictly focused on their internal problems. Try to develop as much as possible, compete as much as possible in the international stage. So my point is, you got to give credit where credit is due, right? Whatever China does, it does not impose it on the world. China is not saying, hey, come buy Chinese EVs, whether you like it or not. You got to buy Chinese EV. No, they just give you the option, right?
Yeah.
They're like, you used to this. This is an alternative. If you can try it, if you like it, buy it. They're not imposing anything on you. They're not saying come to China. You gotta love China. You gotta speak well of China. But the point is, I just don't understand why people do not have that kind of like room in their heads to kind of be like, okay, let me just pay attention to these guys, see what they're doing, see what they're up to. Let me look at their cars. Let me look at their people. Let me look. It's like, and then see what's going on in there. As opposed to like, oh, Chinese trash. China is always copying. China is this. It's. I just don't understand that concept.
You know why you cannot you cannot have a conversation with people like that, because anytime you trash their opinion, they bring up other stuff that is not part of the opinion.
It's a complex. A complex is kind of like a disease.
Right
oh
now,
yeah. Sorry, there's a Chinese saying, right, that says you cannot wake up a person that's pretending to be asleep.
Asleep, yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So
You can't
right
wake him
now,
up because he's pretending to be asleep.
Look at these black guys, and they are talking about, is there not racism in China? That is not what we are talking about. If we are talking about how they've developed as a country, where they came from, the issues they had, and how they've been able to solve it, and how they are moving forward. That is what we are talking here. So don't come in the comment section and pretend like you are smart and you want to, oh, they have this, and don't bring, because every country has something in their closet.
Yeah. I mean, I will go back to where Tobacco was talking about the comment that someone made under a car review. I had the exact same thing. I made a review of this new Xiaomi SUV, and there was this guy who came and wrote, "Oh, just from the way you are speaking, I can see you've been how do you call it? You've been bought.
You've been paid. Send me some
You've
money.
been paid. You've been paid to say good things about the car." And I wrote him a whole thesis. I didn't hear from him again. I was like, I'm just a normal individual foreigner in China who likes innovation, and I just go to these showrooms to look at cars and put it online for people to watch if they want to. A small person like me, you think a company like Xiaomi will come and see me to go and praise their car for how much following do I have? I gave him a whole thesis, but that's just by the way. And I was just also going to say that, like you're all saying, the development in China is so impressive to the point that even the same Western people, most of them, we know them, we've worked with them, we play soccer with them. When they come, they don't want to leave. And they tell you the reasons they don't want to leave. The convenience of life here is unlike anywhere else. I'll use myself as an example. Anywhere else I've lived, and trust me, I've been in quite a few places. If you ask me to choose a place where I want to live for the reason of convenience of life, I will always choose China any day. Why? Because even at 2 a.m., if I'm hungry, I can walk out there and buy whatever I want because everything is still open. I know it is in other countries, but look at the other side of it, security. I can walk in the streets at 3 a.m. holding my phone, and no cop is going to stop me, ask me questions. Nobody. At best, at worst, you get to have somebody say...
That is just one part of it when you talk about it. I think security, a lot of people talk about security. I mean, think about the food itself. It's super cheap, right?
Yep.
I mean, it depends on where you go to eat. But like you're saying, street food, like, you go to usual local, what do you call it, flea market, cheap food.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing I always say is like, do not even listen to us. Me and you guys, okay, like we say, we're ordinary folks, right? I remember, like, I think a few years ago, this guy, I forgot his name, but you know Top Gear, right? That
Oh yeah,
auto
yeah,
car show.
right.
The UK
Mm-hmm.
Top Gear UK.
Mm-hmm.
He was so kind of like he was
Impressed.
like so impressed. He could just not believe the kind of streets that China has.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on for miles after mile, and he did his math, and based on his math, I think China kind of like, I think they what's the word again? They lay asphalt to, I think it was like 6,000 kilometers per year. It's like, it's
Yeah.
mind blowing. What kind of
Yeah.
country does that?
Mm-hmm.
You can take like a trip from right from your home to, I don't know, 10,000 kilometers away, and it's still like first class roads. So my question is, why is it so difficult for most Westerners to understand or appreciate or like the stuff that the Chinese are doing? Because mind you, the Chinese, they haven't really wronged anybody if you think
Coming
about
from
it.
a place of envy.
They haven't really wronged anybody.
It's coming from
People
a
are
place
saying,
of envy.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. People are saying, okay, maybe they're going to Africa, they're doing blah blah blah. But my question is, they go and they negotiate. They don't go in and kind of like impose stuff on them, like, okay, give us this or we're gonna take your gold. No, they negotiate with
It
our
is
top,
coming from a
ministers,
place
and
of
then we strike
envy.
deals. So why are we blaming the Chinese for everything?
Listen, it is coming from a place of envy. Let's take it
Mhm.
literally. When people doubt you and you start to make it, they always say, "What
Yeah.
did you will fail?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What did you
Yeah.
will fail?" It is coming from a place of envy. Listen,
Yeah.
you're living in a place where, you talked a little bit about transportation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sky, rail,
Underground.
underground, any
Sea.
any form of transport you want to use, right? I tell you this, my cousin was here just he left like a week ago, and he said something I didn't actually pay attention then, but when he came, he said, look, from, let's say, Tema to Accra, main
Mhm.
Accra, American,
Yeah.
you use one straight route on the, like, the sea
Yeah.
line. You go through
Yeah.
Tema, Teshi, Nungwa, Teshi, then Usula.
Yeah.
That one,
Beach
one.
Road. Yeah.
But here, if you want to go somewhere, my small city, I have 5, 6, 7 channel lanes and whatever to join before I get to my destination.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when it comes to traffic, it is manageable here. But in
Oh, dude, the point, if you're gonna pick them up, well, we're not gonna be able to finish
So
this
that is what
conversation.
I'm
It's
telling
like
you, like,
every
you
single
have to-
part of this country. It's
you
crazy.
have to see and accept that,
Experience it.
experience and accept
believe
that.
it.
Listen, yeah, I might not like some of their ways of doing things and blah blah blah. That is up to you. But the fact,
Yeah, but that's normal. I mean, in every society, you cannot like everything you do 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, think of it, right? Think of it. If you live in China, all you need is a smartphone and Alibaba. I mean, Alipay or WeChat Pay.
Yes.
You can pay your bills. You can recharge your phone. You can pay for transportation. You can book tickets on your phone.
Yeah, you see, the tech is
Everything.
one part, but for me, I'm talking about development as a whole. Because remember, I took like a road trip, like what, a few days ago, and I couldn't stop talking about it. Right, so you go into the mountains, like first class roads, rails, markings, clean. The resort, like 30 kilometers up. It's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
back where I'm from, like, it's like nobody would even care, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Highways, it's like all the trees, all these plants are like, really, really taken care of. It's like, when do they do this? You're gonna be using the same road 50 times in a week. The trees are always taken care of. The plants are being, and it doesn't matter what part of the country you go to, they give the same treatment to. Because I feel like it's because of the history. They kind of pay attention to like the past, what is natural, right, in
Yeah.
terms of nature. Like they kind of fuse and they take care of everything.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
terms of like like the feng shui and all these like
Yeah.
stuff they have because of their tradition. So they take care of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Be it the land, the plants, the oceans. They make sure
That
everything
guy
is taken
in
care
the
of.
video, he's not He's not alone. Actually, he's not alone.
Yeah.
Because I know people who have left here, and they've gone to the States and whatever, and they say, listen, yeah, we know. Growing up, the States is our dream, but being to China before going to the States was perfect for, like, the person I was talking to said, now I appreciate China. You know,
Yeah.
because when they were here, the dream is to go there. But they got there and they realized they're still living
Mm-hmm.
in. Yeah, maybe you can do your bank transaction and whatever. But yeah, I don't remember the last time I went to the bank. I don't
No,
remember.
do you know what's fascinating though? It's fascinating. Just like somebody said you were being paid by the government or whatever to do the car review. It's interesting because the crazy part is like Chinese actually do not set out to tell people, yo, come to. I mean, sometimes they do for tourism's sake, but if you pay attention, it's actually foreigners who come to China are the ones who go back to preach the good word about China.
Yes.
China itself doesn't really brag about itself. Yo, come see people, come see. No.
Yeah.
They just keep their doors open. Come visit, you leave, and then it's like your impression would never be the same.
For me, I wish they need to even talk about them. I'm telling you. But
I mean, look at back home.
Look at how I'm on the edge, and I'm like, I'm ready to. Because this is the life.
Because you give credit where credit is due. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Everybody has like you have your dream, right? You have this in the figment of your own imagination. You have a way you want to live, right? And China gives me that life and more.
I mean, look at the.
Before you go, you talked about keys. If I'm going home, if I leave my home, I leave my home. I leave my home like that with my phone. And
You look at
Mr. L, just a word and then we wrap it up. This is an endless topic. We're gonna keep going on about.
I was just going to say, like you guys were saying, back home we say "Adipane good things sell themselves. You don't need to go and advertise. If something is good, people will come. The Sheikh of Dubai, the leader of Dubai, what did he say? Build it and they will come. And people came and they are still going. And I just want my final comments are, especially with people back home in Ghana or in Africa, they should look to the East when they are trying to develop. They shouldn't look to the West, because I think if we're looking to the West, we're rather retrogressing because the East is far ahead. So stop comparing yourself to like things that are happening in the US and in Europe, because for me, they are stuck. If you want real innovation and to leapfrog in development, you have to look to China or Japan or South Korea. I don't think you have to compare yourself, because in the US, people are still stopping at toll gates. Here, you just get there, you drive through. So why are you still stuck with examples from the West when you can get something that's
I think adding to that, so we wrap it, I think one of the problems is most people, like you say, okay, they do London, they do New York, they do all these countries, they do Dubai, but they never make it to China, right? So I think that's one of the problems. But we've been to I've been to Europe, I've been to Germany, I've been to I've been to a lot of countries, just like you have. You actually went to school in Europe. So once you have experiences from all these places and then you come to Asia as well, right? Then you actually have a clarity on what development really means. You know what I mean? But if you just go to the States or London, you're like, oh man, it's the best. So when you talk about China, people feel like, because like you said, we grew up with seeing like, Journey to the West and Jackie Chan in this dilapidated, but it's not. It's totally changed. So the crazy part of this, I feel like sometimes, people like us, when we talk, let's be honest. Somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's African, they're from a third world country, so there's a vast difference between them." It's like you guys are poor, so once you see something little, you feel like, "Oh, this is heaven." But no, we've traveled quite extensively, and that's one.
These are
and
facts,
two, if you also want reinforcement of this issue, just go look at like I don't know. Either what you call that place, TikTok or Xiaohongshu, the Chinese version. So you have all these Europeans, Americans singing the same song. People are literally like Europeans, they're literally tearing up that they had no clue this is how great China was. We have friends here that are from all parts of the world and they keep saying the exact same thing. So it's not just because we're from a third world country, so we don't know any better. Right?
Those people saying that they you can still wallow in your quote unquote stupidity. It's okay. It's fine. But you cannot.
And luckily now you have
me from being real things I've experienced.
I like how you lovingly said it. It was nice.
Now, for me, anyone who is saying we are Africans and they still don't believe that we know what we're talking about, fortunately, anyone who is likely to criticize what we're talking about now has visa-free entry into China. So just book a flight and come here and see it for yourself. There's no need to argue about it. All right, right now, luckily, you don't even need a visa.
1620, when they came for my great, he has not traveled anywhere. So he bought into their lives, right? He bought.
Yeah.
And me sitting here, Me, I've traveled enough. I've seen it.
Sorry, if I can just
Kubolo.
if I can just add this before. Yesterday I saw a comment somewhere. Someone put a video on WeChat of some guys some celebrities in Nigeria having some sort of a banquet and eating chicken, and it was a really nice banquet, eating some sumptuous food. And someone came a comment down there. I don't know who the person, but he said, "F you guys." Go and fix your dirty countries and whatever, fix your HIV, whatever. And I was like, who is this person? What is he talking about? So it just tells you clearly that this person probably has never even traveled out of, maybe the first place they ever came to was China. They've never been anywhere. And because of
Now,
that
to be honest,
superiority
people like
complex.
that, for me, I think they just trolls. It's not superiority complex. I just feel like they just
yeah.
their life sucks and they're just looking for people to take their life.
Yeah, exactly.
Their depression on.
If you can write such
Yeah.
good English, then you can't tell me that you can't do your own research to know the reality of what's happening in other
They
countries.
refuse to. That's why I
Yeah.
said people love to wallow in their own stupidity.
Yep. All right, amigos, friends, we're gonna leave it at that. So as we said, there is something called the internet. Like they say, the internet does not lie. So whatever you want to know about China, it's all out there, right? Of course, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly, but people make it look like, it's like, oh, China, it's like Chinese products. Oh, it's the same problem. It's like you get what you pay for. We've been here long enough to know that, right? If you say China produces crap, look at your biggest cars, Apple, look at your BYDs, look at all these Huawei,
Your
look at everything coming out
phones.
of China, right?
Yeah.
If they can produce that and compete with the legacy brands, then you got to know that you are the one looking to buy cheaper stuff.
No, but even
Not
the
because they produce
brands,
crap.
They are
So-
producing from here. They are using manufacturing companies from here. They cannot.
They've launched their own satellite. They have their own GPS
There are
navigation system. They have
brands that
everything.
have
It's like,
different names, but actually, this is where it comes from.
yep. So we'll leave it at that. So leave it in the comments if you have any good experiences in China, or if you have also bad experiences. Link them all down. We want to know how they all sound like. So see you on the next episode. Deal this out.